this is the paradox I hold. The internet is the greatest lottery ticket machine making thing that's ever existed for children to adults to everybody. Like, you can separate yourself, like what you guys do, from the physical world. You can make money online. You can live anywhere. You can go viral as like a 7-year-old. I guess you have to be 13, probably 13-year-old. And you can actually like start to build really cool businesses and meet really cool people. I met my wife on Twitter. Like, I met most of my friends
I didn't
on
know
the
that.
internet. Yeah. Like, so that's one half of the paradox. And the other half is that I don't think, especially with like the onslaught of like LLMs and how fast we can create stuff now, is I just don't think we've culturally matured. And what do I mean by that? It's that we haven't built immune response systems internally to make sure we are using the product, it's not using us. And I think that when I go back to advertising, that being the business model of media basically means we're what's being sold, not what's buying. We're the product, not the actual thing we're using as product.
You've got paid advertising as the core thing, but you
Yeah.
also have influencer advertising, which is probably like so much bigger and also has a deeper influence.
For sure.
And I think goes deeper as well. Like we were spending the last few weeks with a couple of agency owners who were saying that the way that organic marketing works is that it goes deeper because the user or the viewer has the illusion that I stumbled across this, I came across this, and so I'm more willing to like embed this into my belief structure or whatever.
Yep.
Versus if it's being advertised to me, it's being pushed on me, and I'm gonna already have the defenses up.
Yeah.
So, I guess if you want to change a society, you buy a bunch of influencer marketing and make it, the best ads are the ones that don't look like ads.
100%. Yeah, and we've definitely tend to focus on that a lot too within our company. And I think a big reason why podcasting specifically works for influencer stuff versus like Instagram or other things is because they have built, like we talked about the other day, but have built this like jihad, like these people that like spend more time with them than they do talking to their parents, talking to their partner. Like, I bet the average dude spends more time in communication with Joe Rogan, even though it's a one-way communication, than they do talking to their spouse. Like, actual sitting, listening. If they spend 12 hours a week listening to Rogan, they don't like sit 12 hours just like fully focused on their spouse, not distracted, only listening to them.
So really, yeah, I had never thought of that.
And so when Rogan recommends something, that's so insanely valuable because the trust is so deep there.
It's very familiar.
Like, they're one of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's where podcasting just goes so much deeper than like a lot of other stuff, is because these people that are really big fans, and that's why it's just as valuable to have like 1,000 people as it is to have 1 million people, because those 1,000 people, they're still spending more time with you than they do their best friend or their spouse. Usually not like their boss or coworker, but like a really heavy amount.
Schopenhauer said, if you want to appeal to a wider audience, appeal to idiots. Like, and it's this kind of thing where it's like, yeah, do you want breadth or depth? I think there are some people who manage to very gracefully achieve both, or wide audience, like in the millions. But yeah, I guess the largest channel that exists is Mr. Beast, and it's aimed at children. So like, there's the kind of proof in the pudding. You are right that our brains are ancient structures. They haven't developed, and they won't develop even in the next like 500 or 1,000 years to catch up with the rate, the velocity, the personalization of information being thrown at us. And it's sending us into these weird loops.
Yeah. I think back to like, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think back to even to your like, one way I see that we can software mature, not hardware mature, is when you're talking about your 4 places. So can you walk us through what that actually looks like each day as like tools to how you can find balance?
Yeah, so the way to plan it out is just like an annual process. You look at 3-year vision, and I guess like step 1 is, what do I want? And that's something that you almost have to do the old Frank Kern thing of, what's my ideal week? What's my ideal day? And really map it out from like, okay, waking up in the morning, like going through the day, figuring out where do I want to wake up, who do I want to be with, etc. How do I want to feel, look, behave, interact with, eat. And then you go, okay, I've got the vision now. And then we work to, okay, what's the 1-year target for that? Split that into quarterly targets, so quarterly checkpoints, and then weekly targets for in service of that, and then daily habits. And so everything kind of feeds into, so the daily habits feed into the week, feed into the quarter, etc. And then the goal is that each quarter has something that stretches you a bit, but is not completely unachievable. And each week and each day is just turning up and hitting a single in each of the 4 domains, body, being, balance, and business. So body is health and performance goals. Being is your spiritual and personal growth. Balance is relationships, friends and spouse. And then business is career and business. So the daily thing might just be body, I'm going to go for a walk or train or stretch or whatever. Being, meditate. Balance, going to get my wife some flowers, going to go on a date. And then business might be working towards a particular project or something. So it's not like big dramatic stuff each day, but it just makes sure that we don't end up like completely overweighting. And I'm definitely guilty of that, of like, oh, I'm going to convincing myself, oh, I need to go monk mode. I need to just like put the blinkers on and nail something. But then if you let the other balls drop too far, it almost like takes so long to recover that that you've defeated the purpose.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I feel like right now I'm in a place where like business and family are like at 100, and then like body and spirituality are like at a 0.
At a 0.
Or like,
okay.
not 0, that's probably dramatic, like 30.
So like, and are you happy with that, or are you like?
I have been happy with it. I am recognizing like it's, again, the balls are starting to drop, so I need to like make sure that I'm dialing that in more.
Luckily, the curves are not linear, so like you could, if you took like business and balance to a 90, you'd probably add more than 10 points to body and being, for example.
Yeah.
Which is quite encouraging. Yeah.
You started out though with that you have to know what you want, and I think like going to the micro of what's a perfect day, what's a perfect week makes a lot of sense. I think like I've always done really well with knowing what I want, and therefore like things seem more obvious to me. But I have a ton of friends who that's like they're unable to like sit with that question or even consider it, or even like it's like scary to them.
I'm one of those.
Yeah.
I'm very good at doing the little meticulous day-to-day stuff, but then when it's like, oh, what am I optimizing for? It's a real like error 404 kind of thing.
Well, how do you get through, or how are you working through it?
Visualizing the day and then realizing like so many of the things that I thought I was chasing were just symbols. So chasing money, the classic one, actually, like, do I want money? Not really. Like, what am I? What am I currently limited by money wise? Like, okay, maybe pay off the mortgage, like live in a slightly bigger house, possibly, but even that has a limit, because you can't just be like, oh, I'm going to keep moving in a bigger and bigger house. Like, I watched a thing this morning, an $80 million mansion, and watching it, I'm like, whoa, that looks like a headache to run.
Yeah.
And once
you need staff, you need staff for the house.
You need staff, and then you've got a liability. And I think we always want what we don't have or what we're most constrained by. You might be in a house right now where you go, I need more space because I haven't got enough storage. But that's a very close tipping point to where you suddenly get a house where you suddenly need stuff to fill the storage. And then you're like, okay, now this house is actually a bit too big. The other thing might be food. Okay, once you top out food, like, yeah, you could, there's no ceiling to how much you could spend on food, but then you're just taking the piss. You're just spending in fancy restaurants. And like, I think there's almost a curve like that where, in fact, it's not like that. It's like that. So there are places where you could get like a $13 shawarma and it's incredible and it's 10 out of 10. And then you could try and go to some like high-end restaurant and not find something that quite matches that, or maybe close. Anyway, the point is optimizing for a certain thing and realizing, no, actually what I'm looking for is what that affords me. So money is really just a vehicle or a vector for safety and for freedom, allowing you to get the things that you want to. Health, same thing. We can't let it drop below a certain point, but also becoming Brian Johnson maybe also is negative utility as well.
Not Liver King, the other one.
Oh yeah.
Maybe both.
Yeah, maybe both, depending on your definition of health.
Yeah.
So it's ultimately finding like, okay, using the 5 whys, like what am I really trying to achieve? And ultimately, it's happiness. I believe it's the dissolution of the ego self. It's the letting go of all of our conditioning to the point where we become one. We lose the mental structure of self in time and self in space. And I guess that's something that has to be built through many years of spiritual practice. But on the way there, we can let go of our desires and become progressively happier and happier. It's not like it just happens one day and it's all done on faith. It's like, no, we can test that hypothesis as we go along.